Hello. So we are going to start with the QA classes of CAT 25. Today we are going to cover algebra, and algebra we are going to start with quadratic equations. So let's see what we have to solve in quadratic equation. So uh, uh, what is a quadratic equation? If I want to start with quadratic equation, my first question is going to be what is a quadratic equation and what is a quadratic function. So basically there are two things that we are going to use. One is going to be quadratic equation, second is going to be quadratic function. Now what is quadratic equation and what is the difference between quadratic equation and quadratic function? So let's start, let's understand this. So first of all, what is equation? Equation is always something equal to something, right? So for example, if I say that ax square plus bx plus c is equal to 0. So it is equal to something, so it is an equation. But if I simply write ax square plus bx plus c, just I'm writing it like this only, and I'm not doing anything. So basically this is called as quadratic function, and this is going to be called as quadratic equation. Now let's give this thing a name, and that name is fx. So fx equal to this, so my quadratic equation has become ax square plus bx plus c. Now this is quadratic function and this is quadratic equation. So basically, if we have already seen that what are the roots of quadratic equation. So x, the value of x, you can directly figure out like x is equal to minus b plus minus root of b square minus 4ac divided by 2a. So basically, quadratic equation has highest power of x as 2. So basically it is a quadratic function of second degree. So if there is degree, what is degree? Degree is the highest power of the variable. And what is the variable over here? That is x. So x, the highest power of x is 2. It means quadratic equation cannot have more than two roots. It can have 2, it can have 1, it can have 0. Generally we are going to say it has only two roots. I'll come to that later on. But what about quadratic function? So how many roots does quadratic function has? So quadratic function doesn't have roots because it is not equal to 0. So this the value of x at which the function becomes 0, that is called a zero of the function. Zero of the function. So I'm going to take the example. So basically, let's say I am going to talk about x square minus 3x plus 2, and that is fx, and fx equal to this. So I can write it in the factorized form, that is x minus 1 into x minus 2. So if I put x equal to 1, this function becomes 0. If I put x equal to 2, this function becomes 0. So zeros of fx are 1 and 2. On the other hand, if I have equation as x square minus 3x plus 2, and that's equal to 0. So what are the values of x we are going to get? We are going to get two values of x, and one value of x is going to be what? 1 and 2, and these 1 and 2 are going to be called as roots of the equation. So basically roots and zeros are more or less same things. They are not different. Just if it is in the format of function, we call it zero of the function. If it is in the format of equation, we call it roots of the equation. And that's it. There is no other difference. Now, so we have a standard format of quadratic equation is ax square plus bx plus c equal to 0. So this equation is bound to have two roots, right? So every quadratic equation has two roots. So how many zeros this quadratic function is going to have? So a quadratic function is going to have two zeros. A quadratic function is going to have two zeros. So if I say that ax square plus bx plus c, and that is fx, and it has two zeros, so any quadratic function can be written in the factorized form, that is a times x minus alpha into x minus beta. We have just taken the example of fx is equal to x square minus 3x plus 2. So that can also be written as x minus 1 into x minus 2. So here it can be written as a times x minus alpha, because if you see here the coefficient of x square is 1. So basically here we are going to multiply with 1. What if you have an equation like 2x square minus 6x plus 4? Then what is going to happen? Then actually it is the same function, just everything is multiplied by 2. So this function is going to be represented like 2 times x minus 1 into x minus 2. So pretty much similar thing. So that's the reason, to equate both the sides I need to equate the coefficient of x square, right? So fx is equal to ax square plus bx plus c, and that is equal to a times x minus alpha into x minus beta. Now what we are going to do, so ax square plus bx plus c. Now a common, x square, I'm just multiplying these two, minus alpha plus beta times x plus alpha beta. Okay, now what do we have? Ax square minus a times alpha plus beta times x plus a times alpha beta. This is my quadratic function. On the left hand side, I have ax square plus bx plus c. What is the coefficient of x square? A. What is the coefficient of x square? A. What is the coefficient of x is? B. Coefficient of x is minus a times alpha plus beta, minus a times alpha plus beta. So what can I say about alpha plus beta? So alpha plus beta can be said as minus b upon a. What is the constant term? That is c. What is the constant term on the right hand side? That is a times alpha into beta. So alpha into beta comes out to be c upon a. So basically what do we have? So sum of the roots is equal to minus b upon a, product of the roots is c upon a. Now what is a? A is the coefficient of highest power, that is coefficient of x square. What is b? B is the coefficient of x, or coefficient of second highest power. What is c? C is the constant term or the coefficient of the third highest power. So that's how we are going to define a, b and c. A is the coefficient of highest power, b is the coefficient of second highest power, c is the coefficient of third highest power. So sum of the roots is defined as minus times coefficient of second highest power upon coefficient of highest power. Product of roots is defined as the coefficient of third highest power upon coefficient of highest power. Now, so this is about sum of roots, product of roots. Now let's say I have a quadratic equation, that is ax square plus bx plus c, right? And that is equal to 0. So what are the roots I am going to have? We have already studied that. We have seen this in this start of the session as well, that every root is defined as x is equal to minus b plus minus root of b square minus 4ac upon 2a. So once you take plus, you get positive root, you get one root. Once you get negative, minus b plus root of b square minus 4ac upon 2a is first root, minus b minus root of b square minus 4ac upon 2a is second root. So basically this quadratic equation has two roots, and that's what we know. But if you see this value, that is b square minus 4ac, lies inside a square root. Let's give it a name. Let's call it d. So d is equal to b square minus 4ac. Okay, so basically what I am going to see here. So I am going to choose the next page, and we are going to say that b square minus 4ac, and that is equal to d. and it is in the square root, right? So basically, if d is negative, can we have any value uh, uh, negative inside a square root? Yes, but that won't give me a real value. That is going to give me uh, uh, imaginary value, right? So basically, if d is negative, it means roots are imaginary. Roots are imaginary. So in case anyone has any doubt, you can just drop a message on the chat box and I'll respond accordingly. Roots are imaginary and conjugate. What if d equal to 0? What if d equal to 0? So inside the square root, you have nothing. So basically my roots are x is equal to minus b plus minus root of b square minus 4ac upon 2a, right? That's what we have seen. So if this value is 0, now what are the roots? Minus b plus 0 upon 2a and minus b minus 0 upon 2a. It means I can say my roots are equal and real. Equal and real. Now next one is so basically this is also called that the roots are there is only one root of the equation, right? Now what if d is positive, right? So basically inside the square root you have some positive value. Now your first root is minus b plus something upon 2a, second root is minus b minus something upon 2a, right? So basically we are going to have roots are real, sorry, roots are real and distinct. Now basically if we are going to see, we are going to have two conditions in this. Even if d is greater than 0, we have two conditions. And what is the condition? Because everything is dependent on this, that is what root of d, right? Now my first condition is, what if d is a perfect square, right? So if d is a perfect square, uh, then square root of d will be a rational number, right? So if d is a perfect square, it means this number, root d, will be a rational number. If it is a rational number, then minus b plus some rational number upon 2a, it means roots are rational. What if it's not a perfect square? So if d is not a perfect square, then inside the square root, I have a number that is not a perfect square, right? So if it is not a perfect square, then what is going to happen? If it is not a perfect square, it means we have some number that is not a perfect square root. So square root of a number that is not a perfect square, it means I'm going to get some irrational number, right? So basically here I can say that roots are irrational. Roots are irrational, right? So basically we have total four conditions. So even if you are going to see in the exam, a lot of times it is asked that what if roots are rational? So what if roots are rational? So first condition of being a rational is d has to be greater or equal than 0. Second, as well as d has to be a perfect square. If roots are irrational, it means d should be positive and d shouldn't be a perfect square. So basically when you are going to have multiple conditions on d, you are going to understand how it works. Now let's say I'm let's try to solve a quadratic equation. I'm not going to do any of these. I'm going to take a different approach. So basically, what is x minus a whole square? I'm going to tell you a different approach, that is x minus a whole square, that is x square minus 2ax plus a square. Now, how I'm going to use this to solve the equation, right? So basically what is this? This, the coefficient of x is 2 minus 2a, and what is minus 2a? That is twice this number, right? So for example, if I'm talking about x square minus 4x plus 7, and I want to solve this, and let's say that's equal to 0, I want to solve this. How I'm going to solve this? So it can be 7, it can be any other number. Let's say it is 1. Then how I'm going to solve it? So basically I am going to say that x square minus 4x, and that is equal to minus 1. Okay, what is the coefficient of x? That is minus 4. What is half of it? That is minus 2. What is the square of minus 2? 4. So I am going to add 4 over here. I am going to add 4 over here. So LHS becomes x minus 2 whole square, and that is equal to 3. So it means x minus 2 is equal to plus minus root 3. So x comes out to be 2 plus minus root 3. So basically when we are going to solve any quadratic equation, you can either take this approach or you can take this approach. You can directly use the formula, get the answer, or you can use by making a perfect square, you can solve the question. So there are two different ways to solve a quadratic equation. Now let's move on to the few questions that we have seen in CAT. So this is not a question of quadratic equation exactly. This is a question of sets and indices. Now what is the approach we are going to have over here? Okay. So first of all, this is 9 power 2x minus 1, and everything is 9 is 3 square, right? So I'm going to write it as 3 square power 2x minus 1. Okay, minus 81 is what? 3 power 4. That is x minus 1, and that is equal to 1944. Okay, so we have 3 power, so powers are going to be multiplied. So 4x minus 2. Here I am going to have 3 power 4x minus 4, and that's equal to 1944. Okay, so I can say that 3 power 4x into 3 power minus 2 minus 3 power 4x into 3 power minus 4, and that's equal to 1944. Okay, so 3 power 4x is common. What I'm going to get? 3 power minus 2 can be written as 1 by 9, minus 3 power minus 4 can be written as 1 by 81, and that is equal to 1944. Okay, so what I'm going to get over here, that is 3 power 4x, that is going to be 81 minus 9, that is, sorry, LCM is 81 itself, then it is going to be 9 minus 1, 1944. So 3 power 4x is equal to 1944 into 81 is 3 power 4 upon 8. 8 to the, and it comes out to be 243. So 243 is actually 3 power 5 into 3 power 4. So this becomes 3 power 9. So from here I can say 4x is equal to 9. So x is equal to 9 upon 4. And here my answer of this question is going to be option B. So that's how we are going to solve this question if we are going to get in the exam. Now let's move on to the next question. What does it says? Now this is a question of quadratic equation, but it doesn't look like a question of quadratic equation. So what should be the approach that we should take to solve this question? Okay, is there anyone who wants to share their approach and see how we are going to go about it? So let's see what is given to us. X square is equal to x plus 1, that is given to us. What is asked from us? So basically I can write it as x square minus x minus 1, and that's equal to 0. Now what I can do, I can calculate the roots. But the thing is, if I'm going to get the roots, I have to get the fourth power of it, right? And that is going to be very tricky scenario, because I can't go to fourth power. Look at the options, it's not easy. So what I'm going to do, I'm directly going to square it. So I'm going to get x power 4, that is equal to that is equal to x square plus 2x plus 1, right? Now what is the value of x square? X square is x plus 1. I'm directly going to put x plus 1. So x plus 1 plus 2x plus 1. So what I'm going to do, what I'm going to get, that is going to be 3x plus 2, right? What do I need now? I need the value of x. Then I'm going to plug in the value of x, right? So basically from here I can get x is equal to minus b, that is 1, plus minus root of b square. B square is what? 1, minus 4ac. Minus 4ac is going to be 4 into 1 into minus 1. So it is going to be 4 upon 2a, that is 2. So the question is, okay, so basically it is going to be 1 by 2 plus minus root 5 by 2. Okay, so I'm going to just going to plug in over here, and we can't take negative over here, because if you see all the options are positive. So basically I can say that it is going to be 1 plus root 5 upon 2. Okay, so it is equal to, so x power 4, so it is going to be 3 plus 3 root 5 divided by 2 plus 2, and that is x power 4. But question is not talking about x power 4, question is talking about 2x power 4. So multiply everything by 2 will give me 3 plus 4, that is 7 plus 3 root 5, and that's option 4. So that is how we are going to approach this question. I was explaining this question, that's the reason I have taken a little more time. Otherwise, when you are solving this question, always directly start working from here instead of working from here. You are going to be very fast in that. Okay, now this one. So basically, what is it? So we already know that a perfect square can never be negative. A perfect square can never be negative, because if I'm talking about a perfect square of a real number, that can't be negative. So if I'm saying a square, the minimum value of a square is going to be 0. It can't be minus 1, it can't be minus 2, it can be 10, it can be 20, it can be 100. If I'm saying a square plus b square, then what is going to happen? So a square plus b square is equal to 0. So it means a must be 0 and b must be 0. Because if you are going to see, if I am adding up two numbers, दो numbers को add किया, ठीक है, उनका सम पॉजिटिव हो सकता है, नेगेटिव हो सकता है, कुछ भी हो सकता है. इफ आई एम सेइंग दो नंबर्स को ऐड किया, सम आया 0, इसका मतलब एक नंबर पॉजिटिव होगा, एक नंबर नेगेटिव होगा, या दोनों 0 होंगे. बट इन केस ऑफ परफेक्ट स्क्वायर नाइदर ऑफ द नंबर्स कैन बी नेगेटिव. इसका मतलब दोनों 0 के अलावा कुछ भी नहीं हो सकता. So, and why I'm telling you this, because that is something is going to be used over here, right? So I am writing it u square, ये वाली वैल्यू को पूरा इधर ले जाते हैं, प्लस 4uv माइनस इधर जाके प्लस हो जाएगा 4uv प्लस 4v स्क्वायर plus u minus 2v minus 1, and that's whole square, and that is equal to 0. So if you are going to look at very closely, you are going to get u plus 2v whole square plus u minus 2v minus 1 whole square. Right. So basically, the sum of two perfect squares is 0. It means this must be 0 as well as this must be 0. It means u plus 2v is 0. It means u plus 2v, I'm going to write it as 0. And u minus 2v minus 1 will also be 0. So if I'm going to add both the equations, this cancels out. So from here, I'm going to get 2u is equal to 1. So u comes out to be 1 upon 2. Okay, now I'm going to use the first equation, that is u is equal to minus 2v. So u is equal to 1 by 2 and that is equal to minus 2v. So v comes out to be minus 1 upon 4. Okay, now what question is talking about, that is u plus 3v. So u is 1 by 2. So from here I can say u plus 2v is equal to 0 plus v. So this is already 0. So what is the value of v? That is equal to minus 1 upon 4. And that is my option A. I can directly get the answer. Or you can plug in the values. ठीक है? Now let's move to the next equation. So it says that a quadratic equation is x square plus bx plus c and that is equal to 0 and it has two roots 4a and 3a. Okay, and question is talking about what is the value of b square and b square plus c. Okay, fair enough. So basically this is equation that has two roots alpha and beta. What is the sum of roots? So alpha plus beta is equal to minus b upon a. A is coefficient of x square, that is 1, right? What is alpha into beta? That is equal to c upon a. That is c upon coefficient of x square, that is 1. So that is equal to c itself. Now alpha is 4a, beta is 3a, right? So I can say that is 3a plus 4a is equal to 7a is equal to minus b. Okay. 4a into 3a, that is 12a square and that is equal to c. So if I square b, I'm looking for b square. So agar iska square hi kar de, so what I'm going to get, b square is equal to 49 times a square and c is 12a square, right? So basically what I'm going to get, that b square plus c is actually equal to किसके बराबर है, तो 49 plus 12 that is 61a square. ओके, सो अगर a 1 है, राइट, अगर a 1 है तो क्या आएगा 61 into 1, राइट. अगर a 2 है तो 61 into 2 square that is 4. So 244 नहीं है ऐसा ऑप्शन में, राइट. What if a is 3? So 61 into 3 square is 9, right? So this comes out to be 549. So basically, is it in the option? Yes, that is option B. So यहाँ पे जो क्वेश्चन कह रहा है which of the following is possible value of this? So possible value में कुछ भी हो सकता है. It's not like whenever you have a question कि इसकी possible value क्या है, तो उसका आंसर कभी भी डेफिनेट नहीं होगा. उसका मतलब ये है कि वहां पे बहुत सारी वैल्यूज हैं, उनमें से कौन सी एक वैल्यू है जो ऑप्शन में है. So there your job is to figure out the correct option. Your job is not to solve the question. वहां क्वेश्चन सॉल्व भी नहीं कर सकते. तो अगर क्वेश्चन ये पूछ ले इसी में, इफ क्वेश्चन इज गोइंग टू आस्क कि बी स्क्वायर प्लस सी की वैल्यू क्या है, तो मुझे नहीं पता. दैट इज सिंपली 61 ए स्क्वायर. व्हाट इज इट? आई डोंट नो. विच ऑफ द फॉलोइंग इज अ पॉसिबल वैल्यू. इसका मतलब ए की वैल्यू मैं थोड़ी थोड़ी प्लग करके चेक करता रहूंगा कि कुछ तो मिल जाएगा, राइट? So इसीलिए whenever I'm going to see this kind of question, I'm going to just use the options. Whenever this word is there, which of the following, इसका मतलब आधा क्वेश्चन ही ऑप्शंस का है, आधे से ज्यादा क्वेश्चन. अगर आप ऑप्शन नहीं देख रहे हैं तो आप कुछ भी कर लीजिए, आपका आंसर कभी नहीं आएगा. सो whenever you see which of the following, इसका मतलब आपको सही ऑप्शन सिलेक्ट करना है, आंसर नहीं निकालना, उसका आंसर निकलेगा भी नहीं. Now let's move on to the next question. What does it say? It says that m and n be a positive integers. अच्छा, पहले ही दे दिया कि m और n पॉजिटिव इंटीजर, ठीक है, और सबके रियल रूट है. सो whenever we talk about real root, पहली कंडीशन रियल रूट्स की ये है कि d should be greater equal than 0. And what is d? So I'm talking about a quadratic equation ax square plus bx plus c equal to 0. So real roots की कंडीशन सीधे सीधे b square minus 4ac is greater equal than 0. So इसमें what is the value of b? That is m. So m square minus 4 एक्स स्क्वायर का कोएफिशिएंट है 1 और कांस्टेंट टर्म है 2n, and that should be greater equal than 0, so it means m square should be greater equal than 8n. पहला स्टेटमेंट. दूसरा, इस इक्वेशन के भी ये जो इक्वेशन है इसके भी रूट्स रियल है. इट मींस व्हाट इज द वैल्यू ऑफ b, दैट इज 2n. So it means 4n square minus 4 into 1 into n, b square minus 4ac should be greater equal than 0. Okay, so I can say that m of 4 से पूरे को डिवाइड कर देते हैं, so I am going to get n square minus m is greater equal than 0. It means m is smaller than n square, right? So from here what I can say, I can say that m square will be less than n power 4, right? अब m स्क्वायर 8n से बड़ा है और n पावर 4 से छोटा है, right? So from here I can directly say that 8n should be smaller than n power 4. अब n क्योंकि पॉजिटिव नंबर गिवन है, right? पॉजिटिव इंटीजर गिवन है, so I can directly divide it by n, so it is going to be this. So 8 is smaller or equal than n cube. It means n should be greater equal than 2. मतलब n की मिनिमम वैल्यू क्या है? n की मिनिमम वैल्यू है 2. अगर n की मिनिमम वैल्यू 2 है तो n की वैल्यू 2 डाल देते हैं, तो m की वैल्यू क्या आ गई? 4. सो इट इज 2 plus 4. So minimum value of this is going to be 6. So my answer of this question is directly going to be option B, and that is equal to 6. And अगर किसी को कोई भी डाउट है, if you have any doubt, you didn't understand something, it's a humble request, kindly do ask, I'll explain it again. So if you have any doubt, kindly post a question over here. So with this, we conclude the session. Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye. कुंवर, if you have any doubt, do ask. So जो भी है समझ में नहीं आया होगा, so मुझे लगता है कि पूछना चाहिए, right? So uh, in the next session, what you can do, if you didn't understand anything over here, I think you can ask the questions in the next session as well. I'll be happy to respond. Just I want students to be a little bit proactive in asking the doubts, and if you don't understand anything, just keep on asking. And happy studying. Thank you.